individuals out here. I'm noticing the black community is separated. They're very selfish. They keep to themselves, and they're all about talk. You know, until you when you don't see no actions, it takes some time. But when you don't see no actions, you're like, dang man, you all about talk. So what I told the brother is, I said, listen, man, when you're dealing with broken people, you're gonna get broken results. Again, we're one of the only communities who had this black community ravaged to the point where we're not even around each other. So there's nobody to check. There was a time where you have a check and balance. A lot of the time, your check and balance is your people.
Yeah.
You know, you can shuck and jive some of these white folks all you want to, and they can't really tell if you're real or not. But you run that Rollo, if you don't sit down, so
Right.
if somebody ain't about something, and you can kind of check them, and you can kind of run that game. When the community was tight knit like that, we had it like that. My son could be walking to school, and if one of the neighbors that know our family see my son out of pocket, they check him.
Right.
But because the community ain't like that no more, our kids don't get checked. They don't really have that upbringing like we used to, so they can feel like this entitlement, like they can do what they want to do. Black families and white families, black kids can't get raised like white families because we can't get raised like white families. You know, and when that happens, that's when you start seeing some of these kids thinking they can do what they want to do. Let my son have a temper tantrum in the stores like some of these kids do. My son knows it's not going to be no go upside the head scenario, but he knows just my voice alone will correct the scenario. That is not something I should do. You don't always get every toy. You don't get every candy. You don't see everything you touch. So with our P-Town Media platform, we want to do more than just entertain you with music. We want to entertain you with life lessons just as well. I've been in tune with some of the pastors and people who speak some Wednesday talks and things like that. I've been asking them to send me that content, man, because I don't want this to be just about hip hop and R&B. We are more than that's what they always try to make us. Well, the racist people always try to make us out to be entertainment and sports, entertainment and sports. But we are so intellectual. We're so advanced. We're so technological in so many different things. We're advanced in so many areas. Let's talk about it. Let's show the world in communication with blogs and with vlogs and with other different methods of communication to show them that we out here and we are not the typical things you see on TV.
No doubt, no doubt. So if people are hearing this for the first time, hearing about P-Town Media for the first time, like what's the easiest way to plug in?
Tap in at www.ptownmedia.com. We have a chat feature on the page. You're able to leave us information. I'll get that. You can go to Facebook at ptownmedia.com and leave us a message. Very good at doing it that way as well. DM me, Ace of Spade Pritchard on Facebook. We just like to communicate, you know, and have a good time with the community. I will say, some people say favoritism happens, and you will only see that for the businesses that decide to reach out. If you do not work with us, and how can you, if you're not reaching out to us, how can you expect? We can't reach out to everybody. It's only 3 of us, me, Javen, and Rashad White. And we got 2 TV shows we're working on. We're working on Masha Vu's TV show called Rose City Gumbo Show as well on the side. We have run a website. We have a clothing t-shirt store that's about to open, so we're about to drop some merch now. We have so many different things outside of the norm. Unfortunately, we can't be in tune with everything. But if your information is public and there is a share link on your things that you post, then we're going to be able to share it to our people. If your stuff is private and there is no shared link, you expect us to copy and save the picture, and unfortunately we might not be able to do that, and then that bogs down our cell phones with a lot of information and photographs. So make our job easy. If you want your stuff to be shared, make it public, and we'll easily share it on all our platforms for you to let everybody know about your events.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Chopping up with Ace of Spade. So I want to come back, chopping with Ace.
Yes,
I want to come back. And touch on that here in just a sec, man. Yeah. But real quick, man, you mentioned the clothing line, and I have to give a quick shout out to a group that's been supporting the Klyph Notes Podcast for a time now. Acapella Apparel, local apparel company, and they just put out dope content in terms of their clothing. Wintertime, they got some dope hoodies. And beanies, and I know that they're bringing back the original Acapella t-shirt design that's available right now. You can check them out at acapella.com, Acapella Apparel, acapella.com. That's AKEPELE.com. Clothing for the music generation. So I want you to talk a little bit more about people who talk about favoritism, because I think that I just want you to let's just start with that. So how have you been sort of approached about favoritism?
Certain brands sometimes they feel are not highlighted as much
Mm-hmm.
or not highlighted at all. That could be for a couple of fashions, a couple of reasons. One, we have not been outreached by that brand.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that brand does not have marketing material, so they're not posting any logos or any deals or specials that we can actually take and share.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we do take and share photographs, even though I said we don't like to do it. We
Mm-hmm.
will if it's something that's that we deem is going to be important for us to share.
Mm-hmm.
And so that happens, and then what happens is sometimes we'll kind of back up from supporting some individuals. And here's the deal: we love our individuals, but sometimes there are shenanigans on social media that occur that some people decide to mix their brands with their personal lives, and some of the things they do in their personal lives is not some of the things I want to push on my brand.
Right.
And I say my brands because I'm a part of this. I'm doing this work, but in all actuality, this is for us.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are some things, and some people move in the community a certain way that's negative. And I don't want to seem like I support that, so I don't push that. That's why you don't see me really push politics on the website, because there's a lot of views sometimes, even coming from the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, that I don't really side with. So for me to not get into arguments publicly, I just choose not to push that rhetoric and let it be. So some brands, if you're out here, that just take a note. If you're doing things out here in your personal life, try not to let that reflect in your personal businesses, because a lot of folks don't move like that. All the N words and all the cussing and all the B's this and the H that, but you got a food cart, or you got a mobile company, or you got a hair brand, or you got a t-shirt shop, or you got a whatever. So I'm not pinpointing nobody. This is to everybody. If your brand is out here, being disrespectful to the community, I'm not gonna push it as much. Am I gonna disbar you from the website? Depends on what you do. But I still push some people that I felt done that type of stuff in the community. I still keep their banners up. I still keep pushing their brands, because it's not a hateful thing. It's just that I'm not pushing everything now. So somebody reached out to me in a DM and asked me, "Seem like you're showing favoritism, and why don't I don't see this brand?" And I just had to be honest with them. It's not. Before you reach out to us and say, "Why don't we do?" How about ask, "You know what? I haven't seen this. Do you do?" Versus coming at us that way. If you want to set the tone positive, then create a positive communication atmosphere first, because you asking the question first. Remember, you're dealing with some real individuals, and I'm 100% real. I'm not going to give you attitude. I'm not going to give you flack. I'm going to be always polite in customer service, but I don't get paid, so you will get checked. One love.
Well, here's the situation, man, because I think that a couple things. I think, one, we have to remind ourselves, just as a human race, ignorance is not cool, and we celebrate ignorance, right? So
Yes, sir.
we get into situations where we just want to show out, we want to turn up, whatever, and it's at the end of the day, it's just ignorance. Early on in this conversation, you talked about, and understand, man, everything I do is for everybody. But we're talking, today we happen to be talking about movements that are really to support and grow the Black community, and within the Black community, when we get together, yeah, we like to enjoy one another's company and this, that, and the third. But I think you also have to be very cognizant of who your audience is.
Yes, sir.
And if you want your audience to be the Black community, but then beyond, because you're really trying to grow whatever it is that you're doing, then I think you have to remember, you're not going to go to your job and act crazy on your job if you want to keep your job, right?
Right.
If a Fortune 500 company comes to you and says, "Hey, we want to hire you. We're gonna create a situation. You can do whatever it is that you want to do, and we're gonna pay you X." Then you're gonna take advantage of that, and you're going to not do anything that would put that company in a bad light.
That's right.
Because by putting the company in a bad light, you're putting your own situation in a bad light. Because if you act out of pocket, you're gonna lose that check. And I think what we have to remember, as human beings, not just as Black people, that ignorance is not cool, man. We're supposed to be the higher species, man, and sometimes we just don't act like it. Specifically to, I think, and I typically don't get like this so much in the podcast, but I think certain things need to be said. I think specifically as the Black community, we have to remember that beyond the spiritual fight, there is physical warfare that's going on.
Yes, sir.
You know, when we look back historically, there were movements that were about supporting one another. Doesn't make any sense for me to fight you as another black man when I realize that both of us are fighting the same fight against other people who want to take our lives or want to take our livelihoods. Doesn't make no sense. That's ignorant. It's ignorant for me to shoot down my brother man while there's somebody else who's trying to shoot us both down. So we have to rise above that.
It's ignorant to shoot down your brother, period, because that white man loved hip-hop just like that black man do it. And if both of y'all was stranded somewhere, that white man would help you out just like that black man would. So I try not to get too Afrocentric, but I do have to get us to understand that it's a reason why I'll mug you first before I be cool with that white man. Because the issue is that we were taught to hate ourselves. So when we look at ourselves in the mirror, it's a reflection about something about us as an identity crisis that we have a struggle with. It's something about ourselves that we don't like. So when we see somebody that look like us, we tend to flare up at them too, because I don't like what I'm looking at all day anyway. You know, so if that's what I'm supposed to be like, when I see that, I'm gonna interact more positive with that. If that's what I'm told, if I'm supposed to be like this, more fair-skinned, then I'm gonna be cool with all the fair-skinned people. I mean, that's just the way it is, and it's unfortunate because there's a deal when being out in the East County, like you said, where the black folks won't speak to each other. You know, you'll see a black person, they'll just walk right past you. People in the hood like us, we look at them like you being snooty or high-sidity. But sometimes they just don't come from that. And that's just not, you know what I'm saying? And we don't understand a lot of the folks that live in East County ain't from Portland. Because a lot of these big corporations hire them and they live out there like Nike and the places they live out in Beaverton and all that. So they don't really see, you know, they don't. And whatever city they coming from, they have a mentality that they ain't, hey, how you doing? They're not like that everywhere. You feel me? Just because you're in the suburbs, you know? So we have to understand that too, being in the hood, that it ain't like that too. So there's a major disconnect. And I found that out being at the sneaker ball, that a lot of the folks from Nike, they don't really know nothing about the black community here. And so it's wonderful that you do what you do and others to show that, yo, we out here.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Now, let me ask you this to sort of look at the other side of it. So once again, I'm not native. I moved here from the South. But prior to the South, I lived in the Northeast. So I've been blessed to have the experience of living in a number of different just a number of different environments. And not even just when we talk about the black community here in Portland, but just living in the Northwest, just a different animal from living in the South or living in the Northeast. So we live in a state where the African American community is such a small percentage. And as you mentioned earlier, you know, we're learning more and more. I'm learning more and more that this state was built specifically with the idea. Like, it blew my mind, bro. Like, on one hand, you think, oh, that's cool. Like, there was no slavery in Oregon. Well, there was no slavery in Oregon because they didn't want no black people in Oregon, slave or not.
There was slavery in Oregon when it first started.
Okay.
And it only lasts for, I think it was 3 months it was. Okay. After 3 months, you could be set free. But once you set the slave free, they had to leave the vicinity. If they didn't leave the vicinity, they'll be publicly flogged. Go to P-Town Media. Go to the Portland History page. I'll make sure I put it up there tonight. It's the OPB Portland history segment that they did, and it goes so deep into the black history. It's showing you how during the Oregon Trail, there's a black lady up on there. There's so much history that was lost. That there was slavery here just for a brief moment though, but there was a little bit.
So then now, being in a city where there are so few black people, how do we as a culture, how do we as a community move forward, supporting one another, and what do we do with the support that comes from people who don't look like us?
There's two things. That's a two-part question. The first, the answer is easy, but the transition is very difficult. Being in gospel music, the answer is to forgive. When you're able to forgive, that means you're able to forgive yourself for the mistakes you made. You're able to forgive the mistakes for your brother. You're able to forgive the way he treated you. You're able to forgive the way you're treating him. You're able to say, you know what, at this particular moment, let's make anew and let's move forward. It's going to take some godly principles to be instilled into our community to make this happen. The harsh reality is that biblical shows that's not going to happen. Times only get worse as we move forward. So hope for what? Well, times can change if you let it change. The story don't have to be what it is. It's going to be doom and glory all the way through. Not unless you want it to be. I know if all of us decide to squad up, we can make some change. That's all I'm saying. And I mean, I don't have the answer for everything, but I just know power in numbers, power in multitude, and power in people. And that can do a lot, man. That can blow a person up. That can blow a brand up. That can make a millionaire. That can make a successful attorney. That can make a whatever, because people back that up and get behind that. It's when we do our own things and nobody support each other and nobody gets behind something. It's a countdown for each black business. As soon as you put black on it, it's an expiration date.
So maybe I didn't ask the question correctly. To just be blunt, there are people who are not black who want to support people who are black. And I think that, again, it's very easy to, look at situations like that sideways and wonder, okay, like, what's the rub? And sometimes it's a matter of just accepting someone who's in a position to help you.
That's true. I can see that.
And I think sometimes we get in our own way because I think it's very easy because of all of the pain that we have experienced. But I think we also have to understand, and this is where it's difficult for me to separate the life that I live here on this planet Earth and my spiritual belief. Yeah. If in fact there is a heaven, there ain't only going to be black people in heaven.
That's right.
And for all of y'all conservatives out there, there ain't only going to be white people in heaven. So at some point, if someone is offering me a platform, bruh, this radio station that offers me Welcome to the Neighborhood and allows me to record Klyph Notes here, it's not like it was a whole bunch of black people that came together to do
That's
this.
right.
But I've been given this platform.
That's right.
So if I utilize that to help whoever's in my circle of influence on a bigger stage in a city where, there are a lot of people who still feel some kind of way about you and I just because of the tone of our skin.
Right.
On the flip side of that, there are people who are like, it's not about that. I don't understand your plight, but I want to help because I feel within my heart that it's the right thing to do.
There's nothing to help with, unfortunately. It's just an internal thing. It's like you don't help with other people's marital problems. You don't help with their family issues. You console and you sympathize. Maybe offer suggestions depending on who it is and how you got that kind of relationship, but you really don't help with that. So unfortunately, this is a black problem. We got to learn to support ourselves. We got to learn. We've been damaged. Racism done a lot to us, man. And then being in the state where they didn't want us to be in the first place kind of sucks. And then when you start finding out more history about yourself as the years go on, as you go on, because either family secrets or stuff is being uncovered as the years go on, it starts to become embarrassing. As you be like, dang, all these years I didn't know. And you kind of don't have a sense of belonging anymore to some sense. That's why a lot of people still rep the NEP when you don't see the hood here. It's because that's all they know. This is what they still holding on to, Quickies and Cragos and Killingsworth and, Franklins and Brandles, you know what I'm saying? And, the swap meet, we hold on to those things, man, that was dear to us that they stripped. It's only a matter of time. And now we stop caring about a lot of stuff. So now next time you strip something else, ain't gonna be no emotional attachment to it. You can take what you want to take. And that's why I feel like this community of P-Town Media, of Supportland and Newportland is more so outside of the buildings. It's more so you could take our communities, you could take these buildings and these houses, but you can't take us as a multitude. We still find a way to connect. We still find a way to unite, and other brands. And that's why I got love for Sam Thompson and Lalu and Alan Bell and a host of other people, Black Mannequin and a whole host of other, Wavy Boy, and don't let me forget nobody else. I apologize if I have. It's because we all decided to click together. And that's why you may see a little bit more of other brands push, just because they're like, look, man, I'll give you a hat. I don't know how many times I ask people to give me stuff to put on my bar for my TV show. So if if you got a brand, a product, a seasoning, shampoo, conditioner, t-shirt, hat, I mean, come on, man, golf balls, whatever you got, Rubik's Cube, what you got, fam? Shoot that to me, inbox me, Ace of Spade on Facebook, and I'll put that on my bar. So every show I do, and then I got stuff I can tap to. Hey, and make sure you check out. Hey, and make sure you tune into. and look at this song right here. Make sure you listen to. I like to do that every show to give everybody love. So if we gotta work on us, and the white folks can just support the vibes. We gonna put the vibe out there. We see that now. Everybody's solo, but they gonna put that stuff out there so everybody can support it.
Let me offer this as well. I think that's cool, but I think the other thing to do is remember that, and I tell people this all the time, man. With the stuff that I do, it's bigger than music. So that's true. It's cool, absolutely. You know, exchanging of materials and this, that, and the third. You know, folk used to ask me, how can you run with Star Child, man? Now, understand, I'm not native, so I built with Star.
That's bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they feel that way.
Sure.
And it's whatever. That's whatever. The reason I bring him up is Star was on my radio show often. Star invited me to be a part of Mic Check. One of the reasons that I connected so much with Star is because I would get a phone call from Star, not asking for anything. I would get the phone call, yo, bro, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the thing that we have to understand. If we're talking about coming together, don't just come at me with what can you do for me? You have a platform. How come you're not playing? And that's kind of what I was getting at when you were talking about people talking about you're pushing one over the other.
Sure.
You know, sometimes it's not that I'm pushing one brand over the other. You just broke it down, man. You got P-Town Media is not your 100%. You got a life.
Yeah.
So if I'm in your ear, not just on some what can you do for me today, and then you're not pushing my stuff, and now no. Yeah. Like if I'm building with you, if I'm just shooting you a text, hey, what up? That's building community. Obviously, I'm gonna
push for 5 years, never asked OG for nothing. So everything you saying is like, oh wow, so yeah.
Right. But I mean, but the point being is, it's if you really want to, if you say you want to build, and whatever comes, let it come organically.
Sure. I'm
not doing this only because I'm trying to get on. I'm doing this because I care for my brother, man. And again, to me, that's about changing the narrative, Cat. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, whatever you're doing right now, you may graduate from that. And if the only connection that we have is that thing, then how good was the connection? Exactly.
Never was.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah.
So I think I hope that that's something that we can continue to do as a community. I think when you look at other successful communities, whether it be music, business, whatever sort of a relationship, any sort of a relationship, the only way that relationship grows is if you build into it. And I think that's one of the things that we can all do better at. And we have to learn how to do better at, because a lot of us, we didn't have that education for whatever reason. We didn't learn, we didn't know how to build into one another. And I think that's to a certain degree why we sort of build in our own little pockets. But we can change that now. The age of the stinking internet, we can change that now. We can reach out, shoot me a text on Facebook, not on some just like hey yo, you crossed my mind, just saying what up. Yeah. Boom.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's how I had my relationship with OG1. I've been friends with him for years, but when I was deep into my gospel music movement, I would just call him and just crack jokes. Mm-hmm. I didn't want nothing, mm-hmm. and he kind of found it offended. Like 5 years later, he was like, "Yo, man, you you ain't never asked me for no mixtape. You don't like my stuff, man." And I was like, no, I just know everybody be on you, and everybody really want to take advantage of your movement, and I'm just looking for the right time, or looking for the right opportunity to do it. But I said honestly, that wasn't why. I just wanted to be your friend, man, mm-hmm. and that's how we became brothers, over the years, where it was no longer a friendship, where I actually intertwined my life with OG. So for those who've asked me plenty of times, "How you be friends with?" Man, that's cool. That's so cool. Well, now y'all see how I became friends with the Portland Trailblazer DJ. Mm-hmm. Years ago, I reached out to him when I was doing some community work with it, SEI. I tapped into him, and I just got his information from there, and offered, just a conversation with him, like how y'all pop out a lady for just conversation. Well, I didn't want to pop, of course, that ain't what I do, but hey, yo, bro, I would love just to chat with you, pick your brain. Mm-hmm. I know iron sharpens iron. Yes, so like you said, networking skills. Yes, and when we brush up on those things, we can have some decent conversations, and our lives can mesh, mm-hmm. and wonderful things can come out of that.
No doubt. Let's talk about support a little bit, because oftentimes I try to really utilize social media to create as a creative, but to you do sort of absorb what you see on social media, and you see that, you see people calling out, people aren't supporting whatever. What does that mean, like when you think of support, not even just for P-Town Media, when you think about support? Because I feel like there's a lot of different ways that we can support one another, and I think that we're, depending on where we are in our lives, there are different ways that we can do that. But someone would say, look, Asa, I heard the interview, I'm so behind what you're doing, I want to support. What does that mean?
I would say like and follow the page. That way you're constantly able to see new content coming through, or you're able to have a choice to like or share. And then it's up for the people to, how they look at success and how they look at support themselves. Some people you just can't please.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I shared it, but you didn't tag me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's always something. I would say, as people, if we cannot be so sensitive and not expect so much for the other people, I mean, push your own stuff and then allow the other people to support in any way they can.
Right. Yeah.
When you do it that way, it makes it a little bit more of a easier transition versus you not really pushing your own stuff, but then you're expecting that person, but you ain't share my stuff. Bro, you don't even push your own stuff, man. So I mean, I think it got to be a two-way street there.
No doubt. I had Versatile in for an episode of Klyph Notes, and he said something that rang so true to me, because Verse and I are, well, I'm gonna put his, I'm an old head, and Verse was saying, a lot of times people kind of look at you sideways, it's like, man, you don't come to my shows, it's that and the third.
Yeah.
Oh, bruh, I got to get up in the morning and go do my 9 to 5 and understand that I can't always be there present, but like you said, I can share the things that you're putting out there. I can like the things that you're putting out there, and understand that, like, I'm doing that because I care about what you're doing, and I want to help support and promote what you're doing. Accept that, understand that that's actually a thing, man, and embrace that.
Yeah.
Embrace the support however it comes. And I love what you said earlier. If you feel like then just reach out. I'm all over social media. Just one of the platforms. Hey, just reach out. And
reach out positive. Exactly. If you didn't see it, look at the positive intentions first. Well, you didn't do, I noticed you ain't been. Mm-hmm. Just say, hey, I haven't seen, I was curious if you've been doing.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I missed it, bro. Maybe I'm tripping.
Right.
But did you post my flyer, bro?
Yeah.
I mean, try to set the positive tone first. I mean, that's always the best way. When we think ill of each other first, you're always going to create a negative tone for the conversation. But I got to set a apology right now. A lot of people see Trap Kitchen, Rip City Tacos, and a few others up on my page, and I have never been there. I've never been to Trap Kitchen. Mikey Vegas, I'm sorry. Flavor Mo, you my bro. Both of y'all my bros, and I apologize, you know what I'm saying, for not getting there, but I do the best I can to support y'all brand by sharing, even though I ain't been there. So with that being said, for the people who see me support them as much and know that I have never been there, and you maybe have seen me at your event or have not, one, I'm going to say I'm sorry if I haven't made it to your event. And if I have made it to your event, then you should feel special. Because I haven't even been to one of the major brands that's been supporting us since day one. Yeah. And I haven't even been to their shop to try their food, but I'm always sharing their content. So, I mean, it goes both ways. So.
It does, but bruh, it goes back to what I said. And I know I'm putting my joint on you. But if you have a relationship, if they've reached out to you, you guys, that's community.
We talk all the time. I just haven't been there.
That's community.
That's why I probably haven't been there, because we talk so much either via I'm going to a concert or we're always seeing each other somewhere. So.
No doubt. All right, so we're recording this the first part of March 2019. We're getting into spring and summer. Any major things that you have that you can speak on right now that you got planned for the later this year?
Dropping a t-shirt store.
Okay.
So we're gonna have merch. P-Town Media shirts got a lot of different flavors, designs. styles for people. The shirts is going to be starting off at a crazy price.
Okay.
$17.95 t-shirt.
Okay.
The full order altogether coming from our factory is going to be $24.95, I believe, for the t-shirt at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're not getting it made from some off-site place. We're actually partners with the Remix Pros. The Remix Pros is a print shop located in Las Vegas, created by an individual who moved from Portland years ago to Las Vegas, and created this brand and decided to connect with us. They've been seeing everything we've been doing and decided to give us an opportunity to create t-shirts. With that, we're going to have a t-shirt that's going to be going towards a billboard that we've been trying to raise money for. So we're raising money for this billboard because this is going to be the first icon in the community to say this is something that we did. FUBU, y'all. For us, by us. You know, so even if you put in $1 or $2, you know, it's something that you can look at and be like, yo, that's my billboard.
Right.
You know, I can hit up some businesses and we can all go in on it, but it's better if the community have the opportunity to sell too. We got the boat party we bring it back with Sam. Working with Sam again to create bring the shows back, which was the Active Fool and the Hood Family Feud, and a few other things that's going to be going on in the community. So those are some of the things that I've been working on, and we're going to keep doing a TV show. We got Rashad White coming with the music video show.
Oh, that's what's up.
In April, we're dropping that. So this is going to be like, remember Kodiak and Octavius had a music video show back in the day, where they played a lot of just the Bay Area and local music videos. Right. Well, we ain't going to the Bay. We're keeping it right here in P-Town. So Rashad going to be introducing y'all to a lot of the good flavor for a 30-minute show of videos, no commercials.
That's what's up, man. In terms of the television stuff that you do, how do people tap into that specifically?
There's a couple ways. You can hit us up on a DM. If you have your own show, you can submit your information to us. YouTube is the best way to do it because we want you to keep your own stats and your own statistics of people who are viewing your shows. So if you have that, send that to us. We'll create a channel for you. We're not really biased on, you know, content as long as it's not too vulgar. We try not to show the naked ladies and you know, and stuff, nudity and stuff like that on it. So if your music videos got a lot of that, probably won't be on our website, unfortunately. But anything else that you got going on, we pretty much are open to it. If you do make some cannabis stuff, let's not be irresponsible with it. If you're going to make some cannabis content, we're looking for some educational stuff. It's been a negative stigma on our communities. I got family members who've been arrested for it, man, probably still in jail for this stuff. So let's educate the community of how cannabis can help. So if anybody got a show for that, that's some good content. Inbox us and we'll put it on their website as well.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Wow, dude. Like I said, this was a long time coming, and you have your hands in so many different things, and you're touching so many different lives here in the city. I'm grateful, bro. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, I'm grateful to just even, I mean, I'm looking at the Portland, the ptownmedia.com page right now, man, and I see it right there, Klyph Notes, DJ Klyph. You know what I'm saying? I see pics from the show, that the benefit show we did for Anthony Sanchez. Bro, I mean, and you just do that for the love, bro. So I just want you to know how much I appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. And you know, through my channels, Klyph Notes, Welcome to the Neighborhood, you know, the stuff that I'm doing, you definitely have my support, man, for real, for real.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. My guy, Ace of Spade, Klyph Notes. Be sure once again to follow ptownmedia.com and you know, let's continue to build positive, man. You know, positive vibes only. That's really what we are about. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man. Blessings.
Absolutely. Blessings to you, my dog. Once again, man, thank you so much for catching the Klyph Notes podcast. Remember, it's available everywhere you listen to your podcast, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Tap in wherever you check out podcasts, man. And then if you do rock with us on Apple Podcasts, we encourage you to rate and comment. That goes a long way in what we're trying to do. If you rock with Alexa, you can just ask Alexa to please enable the Klyph Notes podcast, and you'll get updates every time we drop a new one. You can check out the DJ Klyph YouTube page, and we are live streaming this one right now. You get to see some video of the artists that we have in, so you can check in that way as well. If you have questions or comments, you can hit us up on the email that's Welcome to the Neighborhood. It is Klyph Notes, klyphnotes@gmail.com. Klyph Notes, KLYPH notes at gmail.com. And you can catch me every Saturday night on X-Ray FM. Welcome to the Neighborhood, playing the very best from the Northwest and worldwide. Big ups to X-Ray FM for allowing us to record the Klyph Notes podcast right here in the X-Ray FM production suite. Once again, shout out to Acapella for their continued support of the Klyph Notes podcast. Shout out to Cascade Record Pressing and Ear Trumpet Labs for their support of Mic Check. The March edition of Mic Check is going down on the 28th. You have an opportunity to see Cool Nuts, DJ Fat Boy, along with Samuel the First, K Wayne. My guy Solomon is coming in to do a beat set, and then our house DJs Trox and DJ OG1. That's going down at the White Eagle Saloon. April the 6th, we're doing a very special fundraiser for X-Ray FM. It's Mic Check and a Beat Happening coming together to bring you a dope event that's going down at the Mission Theater on April the 6th. And last but definitely not least, big ups to my guy Theory Has It for doing the official theme song to the Klyph Notes podcast. All right, y'all. Once again, thank y'all so much for checking us out, man. We love you. God bless. Until we have an opportunity to do this again. Peace.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.